So our next little bit is kind of drama, kind of discussion point. We're kind of going to ignore the drama bit because, that's what everyone kind of wants to focus on because, and the reason why I've actually in our little planning doc, I've actually linked the tweet from Shaka on because Stacks tweeted out recently, only a few days ago, about hard resets on Grand Champs. To quote him actually directly from Twitter, quote, "We need a hard reset. There are too many Grand Champs." Translated, "I'm stagnated and others are catching up to me. Please make it more exclusive. Also, get over your egos." Now, this attracted a lot of heat in the Rocket League space. But regardless of whether or not you agree or disagree with the opinion of someone like Stacks, I actually want to focus on this tweet from Shakaron, which was very, very, I think, more productive to the conversation overall about the rank system and queuing and matchmaking in Rocket League. He said, quote, "I respect your opinion, but I disagree. Of course, this argument could be avoided entirely if there was a more effective way to queue up for high-level games. Six-mans is great, but more integration will be welcomed." And I kind of want to kick this off with your thoughts, Bacon, because I have some opinions about this. Obviously, I like making my Counter-Strike comparisons, and we'll bring that up when it comes to it. But I want to know what you think.
Again, every single competitive scene will have that top level. Diamond and Rainbow Six, if you look at Counter-Strike, is it Global Master? I want to say, don't quote me on that because I'm not well versed enough in it, of course, but I'm saying there's going to be that top rank, which makes up, say, 0.1% of the community. Now, your pros, they're the top 500. The top 0.1% will be the top 6,000. Of course, it's going to feel like loads of people coming into your area, but they're the up and comers. They're the ones growing into it. They're not pros yet, and that's absolutely fine. I liked he was pointing out that, we need this sort of like system that's a bit like Six-Mans. I know I'm currently trying to work on that with a couple of different areas. So I don't want to say too much, of course, because that'd be giving it away.
NDAs.
Yeah, exactly. But Rocket League does need a sort of system. Let's just point out that for Counter-Strike, they've got ESEA and Face It. We know Sonics doesn't want that too much. They want to keep the control, which is understandable because it's their baby, essentially. They're a small indie developer, so near enough leading on in with, say, ESL and all of that to run it would take the control away from them, which they don't want. There's got to be some sort of fix, and I don't see it happening because remember, we're still growing as a community. Even though, we're 3 years in, that is nothing. You compare it to League of Legends, which has been running for 9 years now, I want to say, and Counter-Strike's pretty much similar. We've still got a long way to go, and I reckon it'll be about next summertime that we'll start actually seeing, the Renegades finally being shown what it was made for. This sort of, proper pro system being thought out. We're just getting to it, and it's like we're on the cliff. We're on the horizon, sorry, not the cliff. And some of us that know the other competitive scenes can see what is coming, but you're still a little bit unsure because you don't know how Sonics want to take it. Do you agree with me there, Jay?
To a certain extent. I mean, I'm again, I like my Counter-Strike comparisons. I like to see a lot of Counter-Strike in Rocket League. And PUG services like ESEA and Face It are so integral to the scene because you've got some really big breakout stars that have come out recently in Counter-Strike that have just done so well just because they were PUG stars, just because they were able to queue up for FPL or queue up for Rank S in ESEA. And then they got into pro teams like, guys like Rops. I don't know if you keep up with Counter-Strike that much, but he's currently playing for Mouse Sports, who just got top 16 in the major. Didn't go much further than top 8, unfortunately, but they got close. They got really, really close.
Good. That's another thing as well, which we do forget a little bit about Rocket League compared to other esports, is that our esports teams, let's just take the whole of RLRS from both sides and just say those are your big teams. That's 32 just across the 2 regions. Yeah. Whereas you compare that to CSGO or whatever, and you're looking at 100 pro teams, in comparison. We're a small community, so don't expect everything of that sort of level, I want to say anyway.
Yeah, I think that at given time, we probably could make it that far, which is why I feel like it's important to get that infrastructure in. And the cool thing about it is that you don't even need to put that much effort into something like a PUG system because you can actually approach Face It. Face It have already been pretty decently involved in the Rocket League space. They run the Universal Open from their studios in London and from the NBC place out. Is it California. I can't remember specifically where it is, but bottom line is that Faceit are running the qualifiers for that. They're running the tournaments already, so they haven't even got a massive tenure in Rocket League. They're already doing some great stuff, and I feel like just creating an agreement of some kind, or creating some sort of like partnership between Psyonix and Faceit to run like an FPL Rocket League. That would be a really cool thing. Just $5,000 a month up for the top 3 players, awarded to those players as a whole, just to just to play on the Faceit services, or even ESCA could also be another contender for that factor. And that's the great thing about Shaka on Twitter. He says it'd be nice to have more integration, and I think that these 2 services in particular integrate things extremely well when it comes to their pugs.
Yeah, definitely. And then on top of that, it is also thing like the minors, like Universal Open allowing, what was it, Freaky and Kill number 7 making their way through. Yeah, for Team Secret, but that was an RLRS team. We need more majors within the scene. Like Universal Open, people slay it for being a 2v2 tournament. That don't matter.
I do.
I just want.
I do.
Shut up, Jay. I just really want there to be a summer Universal Open and a winter one, essentially, just so that there's more in the off season for these more majors, essentially, because you got to think RLCS, RLRS are your premier division. Then you have your majors and then minors. Minors, I would love the community to be in charge of these majors, being Faceit with the Universal Open, DreamHack with their DreamHacks, and then you've got near enough Psyonix running the Premier Division, and that for me is an awesome tiered system, of minors all the way up to premiers, and then you've having this sort of like Faceit or scrim system, whatever, running for all of those to near enough keep everyone fresh on their toes, because we've seen the grind that some teams are being able to pull out. Let's just say Triple Trouble have been nuts, and not all these teams seem to have that connection to be able to arrange these scrims to get better. So a system set up, it's going to work.
Yeah, I think so too. And scrims is a totally separate thing to pugging in its own right. But that's another thing I also wanted to touch on as well, because I believe it was last month or 2 months ago. I remember, I can't remember who off the top of my head, but someone tweeted how difficult it is to actually get scrims in the scene. And with all the influx of big organizations, you'd hope that some of the top teams would be like, right, let's buckle down. Let's, let's get into some practice sessions. Let's try to see if we can improve our game. Because especially with the likes of mouse sports up and coming, like, I wouldn't be surprised if within the next year, our current kings, our current big name Rocket League talents may get knocked off of their own individual thrones,
Yeah, definitely agreeing with that. I mean, we saw mouse sports this weekend. We won't go into it too much now because that is coming up, of course. But it does show that the top end, sort of just from the scrims, because you hear rumors that, a few stick together in their scrims, let's just say, for argument's sake, don't confirm it. Complexity, Dignitas, Flipside, and Weedham Girls, they scrim with each other. They're quite happy. They've got a nice little system between them, but they don't touch anyone else. And no one else really knows how to put themselves in that, because it's all awkward gamers trying to like set up this networking thing. I know just from being a caster how hard networking is. Someone that has no sort of like knowledge in how to network has got to find it hard just to even talk to friends and think, okay, how can we get this set up so that, again, with Dignitas, Tuesday nights we scrim against Vitality, Wednesday nights we scrim against Mouse, Thursday against Flipside, and literally get a set schedule up. That's just a lot harder than, like we said, just getting a tournament organized system behind it and like Faceit to near enough make it so at any given moment they can get a scrim out.
Yeah, and building those connections is going to be so important, especially so a pug service, I think, like that really wouldn't be a horrible idea. As you say, it's political reasons why Psyonix might not allow it, but I'm a big believer in something like that might be a very good and positive thing for the space as a whole. So
wink, wink,
yeah,
nudge,
let's wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Come on, Shice, took some brothers up. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything we wanted to do with the with the whole stacks thing, well, the scrims thing. I guess we're going to put it up again. We don't want to.
Well, we just don't want to touch the drama because that's not helpful to anyone.
Yeah,
really.
I will say that a lot of the hell that was flung towards stacks is probably a little bit not unjustified, but certainly not productive. Let's put it that way. That's just my personal opinion.
I've said it to you in that Stacks is a great guy, great caster, but Twitter, he needs to get like a PA to sort of handle it, because his tweets don't come across the way he means it to, does it really? You can see from that he's there trying to say, people stop like having a go at these at these lower guys getting through to Grand Champ, but the way he phrased it wasn't good. It's as simple as that. You get it from companies. He's not the only one in the problem here.
Yeah, certainly. Actually, I just want to go quickly over to a Twitch chat thing because we've got Fruity in chat. Shout outs, buddy. Well played in the last few weeks. But he says, problem is how our league system works. There's no incentive for RLCS teams to scrim anyone outside it. And that's part of the reason why I think a PUG service would be all right. Because if you've got some really capable players, like, before this season, Scrub Killer was always known as one of the best in the world, even though he'd never been on, like, an RLCS team. He'd never been in the upper echelons of Rocket League as a whole. So to make those connections would be something really cool. And again, it goes back to what I was talking about with the Renegades Cup. It would be nice if we can have those tiered ladders, so that way you do see what the talent's doing at the bottom end. You do see the grassroots growing, and you can see what you've got to contend with. Maybe you might want to consider, hey, maybe there's something we might want to learn out of these teams that are doing some really good stuff in this Renegade tournament,
Well, and also throwing the fact that these lower teams might be playing a style different from everyone in RLCS, which you can look at and go, oh, that actually works. We can change our play style to fit that. I was talking with a couple of players the other day, and don't want to say any names, of course, but they were saying that Triple Trouble is basically a perfected XL, in the sense of XL plays this super aggressive style, Triple Trouble do as well, but they have fine-tweaked it, and it shows that XLs want their sort of like play style, their ideal, is incredible when it is fully fleshed out, And that's from an RLRS team, and we've seen what Triple Trouble can do with that similar system, and they can knock down 7 out of 8 of the RLCS teams. So saying that you've got no incentive to play outside of RLCS, I think is a bit narrow-minded, if that makes sense. I get what you're saying, but I think there is still something to be learned from it.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, there's always something to learn from the new boys, I think, is the bottom line of that. So